Aloha, it's Kim Jolene with Finding Your Fiji, and I'm here doing your Feng Shui Friday quick tip for today. So we are continuing the series today on Feng Shui cure items. These are also sometimes called adjustment items, and we covered last time, if you missed it, I'll put a link below, we covered bells. So today we are going to be talking about crystals. And crystals in general have a very balancing energy. So the type of crystals that we often use in Feng Shui are round. So I'm going to just show you a little example of the crystal here. So this is a round crystal. It has a little hole at the top where you can put your thread or your fishing line through that hole. The very top, you can kind of see that there. And this particular crystal is faceted. It is also contains 30% lead, which also is a balancing energy, balancing property. So when I recommend using a crystal, I typically always recommend for many of the adjustments, I often recommend using a round crystal such as this to balance the energy. And there are some larger crystals that we use as well, which I'll share with you in a moment. So the crystals do carry a lot of energy. And so you want to be a little bit careful about not putting too many crystals in a space. Particularly, I think of like in the bedroom where you need it to be sort of calm for you to sleep. You know, sometimes people have like piles of crystals and stones and things in their bedroom and they're having trouble sleeping. Well, it can be a little bit too much energy. All right. So they carry a lot of energy and you don't necessarily want too many in a space. I did have one circumstance of a client in Wisconsin that I worked with that I actually recommended. It was a very unusual circumstance. I recommended that they hang a crystal in every single room. But that was a really, really unusual circumstance. And maybe at some point I'll share the story about that one. But crystals do carry a lot of energy. So this is the basic 20 millimeter size crystal that I often recommend using. There's also a larger crystal. So this is, I believe, a 50 millimeter crystal, but same thing, this is faceted. It is considered round, although when you look at the shape of it, it's not completely round, but it does have a hole in the top of it where you would place a ribbon or your fishing line to hang it. And then this one also has 30% lead in it. And it's, as you can see, like the facets will sort of deflect the light. And so that also creates sort of a balancing energy. And we can use crystals in a number of different ways. So they can definitely calm, they can provide a calming energy. They can provide a balancing energy. They can also be used for protection. So if you have, something that is energetically creating an arrow at your home, or sort of making you feel like you're under attack, like a radio tower, a cell phone tower, something like that, they can be used for protection in that way. Again, I like to hang these by either a 9-inch red thread or a 9-inch fishing line, right? And they do need to hang freely. So it can't be up against a wall or up against a window. It does need to hang freely. So typically you would be hanging it from the ceiling. And why do we use red? Some people might be wondering why red thread. And it is a lucky color. It is about success. So red is, sort of lucky. And the 9 itself is about reaching new heights. And that brings in success and completion, right? So Swarovski crystals are obviously a good brand, really high quality. There's a lot of other crystals that you can get that do have 30% lead that are still good quality, that aren't quite as expensive as the Swarovski crystals. But you can also use colored crystals. So if you have an issue with your health, for example, you could hang a yellow crystal, because that's the color for the center, the health bagua. You could hang that in the center of your home. Again, you could use a purple one for wealth. You can, get creative with that and using the corresponding colors to things. Okay, so some of the ways that we might use crystals, and again, I'm just going to kind of give you a sort of a laundry list of possibilities, but honestly, I really like, for many, many of these circumstances, I would want to see your floor plan, and I would want to do a consult for you to advise you properly on where you should actually place them. So this is really just giving you sort of and overriding information about, ways that we use them. So we often use crystals around stairs. We use them sometimes for arguing or biting or too many doors, empty doors, arguing, sink and stove, sometimes doorway energy, different things that are happening around doorways. Angled doors in homes can be a way that we use them. When we have a front door, back door alignment, that can sort of disperse the energy. Poison arrows, I've talked about that in a previous video. Long hallways, sometimes, occasionally we'll use them in bathrooms for different circumstances. Sometimes people will hang these in their cars, although I don't know, some states, I think it's not legal to hang like something like this from your rear mirror, but protection, that would be a protection. Helping with focus and calm. So sometimes we'll hang them in that particular circumstance, especially with children that are ADHD or ADD type of children. So we use them in a lot of different ways. There's also another type of crystal that I just want to mention, since we are talking about crystals, and this is a rough cut. So you'll notice that it's got a point at the top and the bottom is just more, sort of more flat. The rough cut crystals we will use often on property to remedy things in the exterior. And so this is something that we will use a rough cut crystal to help, sort of drive that energy up. And again, it's specific certain circumstances that we use those in that particular case. So I wouldn't want you just willy-nilly doing things with that, right? So there's a number of different things that we can do with the rough cut crystals to assist with the properties. So that is sort of the lowdown on crystals. I will say that I do sometimes recommend crystals for anchoring the energy in a space. So like if we're wanting to boost your wealth area, for example, having a beautiful amethyst crystal would be amazing in that particular area. So different crystals also carry energy with them. And so sometimes we might feel called or I might be guided even to share like, oh, I feel like you should place this type of crystal in this particular area of your home. So they do help provide support as well for specific things. So just in the case of amethyst, that brings support for more abundance, right? And sort of anchoring that wealth energy in your home. So that's what I have for you for today's Feng Shui Friday quick tip. Next week, we are going to be talking about flutes, something that you probably haven't heard me mention too much before. So flutes as a way to cure or make an adjustment are a lovely tool as well. And I'll be sharing more with you about that next week. Have an amazing day. Much love and aloha.